The influence of social media has slowly increased over time, with its effects greater on no generation than it is on children, teens, and young adults. This creates two clear distinctions of people in the world today. Those who grew up and have lived a major part of their lives without social media, and those who have lived a major portion of their lives with social media. For the purpose of today's essay, we shall call the latter the social media generation. The existence of these two generations might beg the question, which generation truly lived their best lives? First, how and why were they born? Picture this. In 1950, what would you do if you were missing a friend or a family member and hadn't seen them in a while? Probably draft a warm letter anticipating a response that may take weeks. You may even consider traveling to see them in person. Or would you even bother with that? You may end up deciding not to because of the stress and multiple other factors involved in traveling. All of this contributed to the invention of social media as we know it today. It was born from humans' desire to foster better connections, the need for faster communication. Social media doesn't take anything away from how communication was handled in the past. In fact, it had a nice ring to it. The joy of receiving a letter or going miles with your parents just to see a loved one as a child was thrilling. And these are things people can still do today. You might say that in that regard, social media has achieved its fundamental purpose, easy communication. However, in order to do justice to the subject matter, let's talk about three main points of mutation, if you will, where social media has altered what was into something new. Information. Information has different routes through which it passes. Before the invention of social media, news came on at a specific time and was printed at a specific time. The length of time information took to travel was directly dependent on the ability of the initial discoverer to quickly relay that news to a medium that had a massive platform, such as a newspaper or some broadcast network. And enough people had to take out time or go out of their way to tune in or pick up the paper before word of mouth would become the primary medium through which that news would travel. Without the initial broadcast through a mass medium, it could take ages to disseminate such information. And still, newspapers and TV broadcasts needed to repeat the news often for enough people to catch it. Now, that is not the case anymore. In about the time it takes you to say breaking news, news of some celebrity drama or world-shaking event has reached millions through the tap of a button or scrolling on social media. For instance, I don't know about you, but I found out about the passing of beloved Hollywood actor Matthew Perry from Instagram hours before I got into work and saw it on the news. This is a given positive. Kids nowadays know way more about the things going on around them. One kid finding out about NASA launching another rocket into space from their favorite social media platform could mean the entire class finding out the next day. However, there is a downside depending on how captivating a story might be. People don't bother to check or even care about the validity of the source. That's where the line should be drawn. A clear difference between true and false information. X, once known as Twitter, for example, has tried to implement a community notes feature that flags fraudulent posts to keep a healthy environment free from falsity. However, there is always a certain amount of false information going around unverified due to the sheer volume of information out there. Just as accurate information can spread quickly, incorrect information spreads even faster. There was a little more restraint on spreading false information in the past because not just anyone could put out things to a large platform for hundreds of thousands of people to see. The very power social media has given the average individual is quite enormous. So yes, the spread of information has positively been impacted by social media, with this generation definitely more aware of important issues than their predecessors. But we must be cautious of what they are being made aware of. Is it real or is it fake? Exposure. We have all seen those TikToks going around where it talks about me versus when I was a teenager and teenagers now. Me when I was in high school versus high schoolers now. And yes, it is expected that teenagers back then would be different from how teenagers are now. But the contrast is stark. And the term kids matured beyond their age is becoming more and more common these days. They're exposed quickly to topics that they probably would or should not be talking about until they're in their 20s or 30s just because they've seen these things on social media. As we know, social media has a lot of unfiltered content and possibly hidden agendas that kids nowadays are being exposed to, which they can easily pick up on and is unhealthy for them. It has become a necessary extra duty for parents to control what their children see and do not see on social media, which most parents unfortunately are unable to do successfully. And in most cases, this is not for a lack of trying. You didn't have to worry about this 3 decades ago though, because children did not have the whole world in the palm of their hands. Personalities, dreams, ambitions, and behaviors are being formed by what this generation is consuming on a daily basis in those little devices on social media. In a 2021 survey by YouGov, among teenage boys, the top career choice for when they grew up was pro athlete at 12%, followed by online content creator at 11%. For the girls, social media was not the top spot, but when the survey results are combined, content creator sits comfortably in the top 5. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a bad thing, but it tells you the increasing influence of social media on this generation. They have been exposed to the glitz and glam of a career in social media and now want to become influencers, likely adopting behaviors of their favorite content creators, which may not always be kid-friendly. We live in a world where the biggest influence on your child's life is not mom or dad, nor their teacher, nor some hero from a book, but a stranger online that you as a parent have never met. Again, not all content creators are bad influences, but the bad influence content tends to be the overwhelmingly more popular with younger people. In order to balance this out, there are good things that kids have been exposed to. Some kids learn how to take care of themselves, how to study better, and other good habits from influencers. The exposure is not always bad. It just tends to be more so, which is the nature of the way things work. Finally, temperament and behavior. There is a lot going around about how this generation might be chronically online and how this affects the way they behave. For example, a lack of empathy has been flagged as one of the biggest concerns about this generation. However, there might be a myriad of other factors contributing to this beyond the fact that they spend a lot of time on social media. According to Wikipedia, chronically online is a phrase referring to someone closely engaged with internet culture. People said to be extremely online often believe that online posts are very important. According to a December 2023 survey, Gen Z averages a screen time of around 9 hours a day. That is a long time to spend on one's phone. And to be fair, I am also guilty of the screen time curse. There may also be an epidemic of indoor kids nowadays. Kids valued that physical playtime in the past. In cases where a friend lived far away, they had to wait for the occasional visits to adventure parks or to do something fun with their friends in person. The long wait elevates the entire experience too. They were also more interested in board games, chess, and all the likes of those things. What I'm driving at is that fun was more physical back then. Social media hasn't eliminated that either. There are still adventure parks. Kids still go out and play. Kids still play board games and what have you. But we have more kids spending more time online than doing stuff in the physical, in the flesh with other kids. Social media is so fun and addictive, the kids can sit for hours on the platform till their parents decide this is enough. The same platforms that help you connect and learn can quickly turn into time sinks. One innocent scroll through your feed can morph into an hour lost in the abyss of cat videos and memes and status updates, and your favorite celebrity is doing this and that. With chronically online people comes people with less and less empathy who dissociate the posts on social media from the actual human beings with feelings sitting on the other side of the screen. Online hate has reached new heights. You could say anything to anyone without serious repercussions, besides maybe in some cases getting your account suspended or deleted, to which people can just make a new one. People knew some things were better left unsaid in the past. You wouldn't dare insult anyone without weighing the consequences of your actions because you could see the consequences of your actions in the flesh. It is very different now. You can hide behind your keyboards and say whatever you want. I really won't say that they had it easier in the past, to be fair. All I can say is that unlike the past, there is now a huge platform platform for hate to spread. Also, it is not a matter of whether these issues occurred in the past, but how virtually anyone can say whatever they want without empathy. And it might just begin to spill into how people operate in real life, carrying such behavior from their online personalities into their everyday interactions with other people. Social media is powerful, and we need to learn to leverage the positives without falling prey to the negatives. It has a lot of potential to be better than it already is, and it has served its purpose in making life easier for everyone. Anyways, that's it for today's essay. Leave an essay of your own in the comments if you'd like, and don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking essays. Thank you for joining me, and if you found this video informative, please show your support by giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with somebody. Until next time.